Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm playing with some pretty spring products from Brutus Monroe. I have the Spring Flowers paper collection. I also have the Flowered Heart die set, which is gorgeous. I am actually going to be scrapbooking this photo of me with pink eye in the spring. It's a tradition. So let's see what I can do. Now I decided to go with a grid style layout, so I grabbed the Spring Florals paper collection and I just picked out 4 that I thought looked really nice together, and I am trimming them down. So I'm trimming them down, I believe, to 4.5 by 4.5, and what that's going to do is allow me to have a pretty great grid design here on this page. Now I decided against the one with the smallest print because I figured I could use that as a photo mat and you would get a lot of the colors showing on the photo mat instead of just some random little bits if I had used a different paper. I do trim down my photo to 5 3/4. What that's going to do is allow me to use this 6x6 paper with a full mat around it. So I go ahead and mat my photo down on there, and then I'm going to do the grid. So I get the grid down, and I'm thinking at this point that there's going to be space between the grid. And I do that just because I kind of like it. I think that it looks cool with the khaki colored cardstock in the background. I decide that the photo mat, wow, word was failing me there for a second, that the photo mat kind of runs into the grid here on the back. And that's not unexpected because they are the same exact color. They're from the same exact collection. So it does make sense that the colors match. Like, that's completely appropriate. So I grabbed some vellum and put it on some foam, some fun foam. And what that's going to do is break up the line of the photo mat against the line of the grid. And I think it looks good that way. It looks better that way. It just gives your eye a little place to rest before the colors start like all melting and molding together. So I'm looking at this and I'm using my grid mat, which is underneath of my photos, or not my photos, my papers, to kind of center this, this square grid. My photo is going to go mostly covering up one side of the grid and a little bit on the other. I think that that just looks the best if you're kind of going with a center patterned paper layout. Now I had this great idea to use this stencil and to put some of the new Poppy glitter glaze through it. I am using my glitter glaze palette knife. I always recommend that if you're going to be using glitter glazes, that you grab one palette knife just for glitter glaze and you don't mix it up with anything else. Because you guys, glitter gets everywhere, and it's not just loose glitter that gets everywhere. It's the glitter glazes. That stuff gets everywhere too. Plus it likes to stick on the palette knives, and that's never fun if you are using another media. Like, you just want to keep all the glitter together. Now, I really like how the stenciling bit came out on this square, but my squares were too big. Now, I don't know why I didn't just trim them down. That would have made a whole bunch of sense. But in the moment, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to figure out a way to be able to see that white stencil-y bit back there. So I end up moving this square down, and I don't like the way this looks right now. I'm like, something is wrong with this. Okay, maybe if I use the floral dies, I can add a little bit more weight back up to this corner and it will balance itself out and everything will be great. Well, that's not what happens. I decide to put the grids close together, so I overlap everything. There's no more gap in between them, which I kind of missed because I liked the gap in between them. I liked the 4 distinct squares. I thought that that was a striking design element. However, that just didn't work out. So I'm going with plan B, which is squishing them all together. And that works too. You still have the whole grid effect going on here. And now I'm going to die cut some florals. So I do try a couple of scraps of paper that I have, just, you know, chilling out in my stash. And then the one that I tried had too big of a pattern on it. So these are kind of delicate little dies. And if you're going to use a paper that has a pattern on it, you're going to want to use something that has a teeny pattern on it. You want it to be something that reads as a solid. So I'm just going to kind of bounce these flowers along the join line at the grids. And it's going to just be a line all the way across the page. Even though the flowers aren't underneath of the photo, it reads like they are because they're kind of tucked under the photo. Like you look at it and you're like, okay, I can totally see that continuing on. I do add a little white doodly border around the outside. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this yet. I'm just not exactly sure. I mean, I like it, but do I love it? It doesn't matter because the layout is finished and it's going in my album. But yeah, so that gets done, and I just add a little bit of journaling just about how I am over the fact that springtime hits, allergies hit, and pink eye hits. Because believe you me, guys, that is such a pain in the tuchus. Such a pain. All right, now the pin is capped, and I do believe that is going to finish it for this video. I don't think I added anything else. It is kind of a flat layout, but I am okay with that. I'm okay with flat layouts every once in a while. Oh, shoot. Duh. I forgot about the title. So I do know that I want to reference the fact that this is pink eye, and it's not just me like crying, smiling through the tears. It's not that whatsoever. So I'm using some thickers from my stash, and I am kind of Frankensteining them up. So I take an M and cut that down into an N, and then I take a J and cut that down to an I. So I decide to use numbers as part of my title. So I grabbed the 2 and the 0 because this was in 2020. And then I grabbed the little apostrophe here because it's in like 20 instead of 2020. I don't know, it makes sense in my head. So I grab some tile letter stickers, and then I'm just going to place these down as well. So now it says the pink of 2020. And I know I could have written the pink eye, but you know what? I kind of like this, the pink of 2020. Yeah, I like it. I am not stressing about it. It makes me happy. I've documented something that happened to me in the springtime last year, and there we go. So that is it. You guys, just look at that beautiful glitter glaze. It's gorgeous. There it is. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again real soon for another video.